Well, hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Hillbilly Shipwright. So we've been working on this right here. This is the American Civil War cannon series, Naval Smoothbore 18th century cannon with the deck display. Got quite a bit done so far. We got a lot more to do, and that is going to entail some metal work. So let's jump over to the bench over here and see what we need to take care of. So the first thing that we need to make is going to be our cap squares. So you got this metal bracket right here that's on top of the gun carriage here. This holds the trunnion for the actual barrel on our cannon. And we could do one of two things, I guess. You could either cut this from this piece of Britannia here. It's real soft. You could probably do that fairly easily, or you need to make one. So, and as you can see, it's kind of skewed in the mold there, so they're not going to look really good. So we're going to make it. What I have here is some brass. Now you get this brass in a pack at the hobby store, and this one looks to be 1/4 inch or 6.25 roughly millimeters. Yeah, by about maybe 1 millimeter, probably thinner than 1 millimeter. Looks like a 0.75 millimeter or maybe a 32nd of an inch, something like that. Let's see here. 0.83 in millimeters there. I'll get it where you can see it. And roughly 6.35, yeah. I said 6.25, but you know, that's what you got. We can go to inch 2. Just for you guys that are in the empirical standard here. 0.033 of an inch thick and 1/4 inch. So the gun carriage that we built is an 1/8 inch in thickness there. So we're going to have to split this. So I've been thinking about it. I'm still kind of up in the air. I think it will cut easier because we need to split it down to the right width. I think we'll do that first and then we'll anneal it. That way it's not bending and flexing too badly on us when we're using a cutting wheel on it. So I think that's probably the best bet. So I am going to do more than I need to, just in case I make a mistake. That way, we'll have plenty to work with. So this is just a scribe, and I used a black magic marker there to help us see our line. So we need an 1/8 inch. Now we can refine that later. You know, just with a file. And by using a metal scribe, we should get a nice visible line there. There we go. So it should be roughly an 1/8 inch either side. Well, we're really close. That way, doesn't matter which side we start cutting, just stay on that side of the line as you progress. That way you're not making it too thin. We don't want it too thin. And I think we can use the offcut side to make our straps. So there's some metal straps or brackets that we're going to put on the bottom of the carriage, and they're going to go right here. And we're just going to bend it to come down and around, kind of like, let me see, kind of like these right here. Comes off the axle tree and comes up to the carriage. So yeah, we'll try to reproduce something like that, I think. Be a nice little detail there. Shouldn't be too hard. So this is what I'm going to use to cut the brass with. I think this is going to work. It's just an abrasive disc. And you do have to be very careful with these because if you get it in a bind, they will shatter. So make sure that you wear your eye protection. Very important. We'll get that snugged up there. And we'll be using a rotary tool here to do our cutting. Now, here we are in the garage, and I've got it in my vise. I've also got the jaw protectors there on my vise so that I'm not marring up or, making a mess out of the brass. And I'm just following the line that I scribed into it just to one side. And yes, you can keep going this way, but while I was doing this, it kind of dawned on me that that little mini table saw that we have, it actually comes with an abrasive disc. So I took the wood cutting blade out of the table saw, and then I went ahead and put the abrasive non-ferrous metal cutting disc in place. And here we're just getting started with our cut, and it is going a little slow. But the added benefit is that we do have a fence in place there that we can use to actually guide us and make a nice straight cut. So I am having to put some pressure down on the metal there so it doesn't rise up over top of the blade, and we got a nice straight cut going. So yeah, just go slow, and that abrasive disc that came with our table saw works really, really good. Now I don't know why I didn't think of this first, but you can still cut it with a Dremel. It's not that big a deal, but you will probably more than likely have to use a file to straighten up your cut. Now with our piece of brass split just like that right there, I am going to go ahead and anneal it. Now I didn't do that before because I still needed it fairly stiff so that we didn't have any problems, cutting the right width that we wanted. So when you go to anneal this, I'm just using a propane torch here and trying not to burn up my camera. So yeah, you just need to heat it up until it starts to turn a little bit maroon. I hope you can see that there. Okay, so with this annealed, we can do just about anything we want with it. You can see from the annealing process, it got a little warm there. It kind of warped out of shape there a little bit. But that's all right because it is it's brass. Just make sure that you let this cool down. That way you can handle it. Otherwise, it will remove your fingerprints. So, a little bit narrower than I really wanted it, but it's okay. It's going to be fine. That's going to work good for us. And I think the offcut will work just fine for our brackets on the bottom. So next thing we need to do is clean up these burrs on it and straighten it out some. And I'll do that for both pieces. file is all you need. And we'll probably even come in and polish it up just a little bit there. Since it's soft, you're going to want to support it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of bends that you don't want. You can also sand it. Just get rid of these sharp edges on it here, and we'll see what we got to work with. So it's actually a pretty good cut. Just cleaning it up a little bit here. I think I will just go ahead and sand these. And we'll be trying to blacken them later on. Hopefully that will work. That looks pretty good. We have our brass all cleaned up, ready to go. And we're going to blacken this anyway, so I didn't bother polishing it. So we're ready there. And I've made this jig. Now, this is just a piece of redwood, red oak. And we have a piece of dowel. So I did have to drill a hole in it. And the way you do that is you put two pieces of wood together in your vise, and I put it on the drill press and drilled me a hole. I made two, and this one turned out to be too shallow. So it's not giving me the height that I need on the arc. So I used the opposite piece, which gave me a much higher profile. And we're going to use this wooden jig here to bend our brass on. And that will go over the trunnion on our cannon here, so that the cap square is going to be curved going around the top of it there, or as much of a curve as I can get. That's kind of the plan. Now, one of the things that you are going to have to do, because when you paint this, these the fibers going with the grain are going to swell into the hole, and you're going to have to clean that up so that the trunnion on our actual cannon sits down into the bottom of it there. So you need to prep all that stuff. Now, I am going to have to cut that trunnion later, but that's no big deal. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and bend one here. So what I have here is a pair of parallel pliers. I need to kind of set myself up here because everything kind of wants to slide around until we get pressure on it. The other thing is I have measured this out 6 millimeters, front and rear there, because that's the size that I want our cap square to be. Now, when you go to bend this stuff, you really need to make sure that you put some protection on it, because we don't want to mar up our brass, because since we annealed it, it is nice and soft. See if I can get myself oriented here. So I'm going to use a piece of cardboard to orient it over top of the brass so that we're not marring it. Marring it. That might be too long of it. No, that's good. And then I need to get my jaws of my pliers right up where we're going to make that bend. And then we're just going to bend it down just like that. And hopefully everything stays parallel. So you want to parallel to the edge of your block here. That way when we make the rest of our bend, it's going to be nice and straight. Hopefully. And I'm just going to bend it over like that. Whoops. Almost out of frame, weren't I? There we go. So we've started it. Now all we got to do is finish off the bend. And we're going to do that. This little pair of pliers here. And again, you need to get up right next to the dowel. And the brass should just slide or our little cardboard will slide down around it there. Like that. So obviously we're going to have to straighten it. Because we want the two tails, the front and back there, to set flat on the gun carriage. As you can see, our brass is really malleable at this point, so a bad bend will leave you something there that you don't want to have to deal with later. Oops, too much. The other thing is, when you bend this, it might have a little rock to it, so we're going to have to kind of tweak it a little bit here. So that it sits flat. It looks pretty good. So the idea is it's going to sit flat on the wood, and it'll go right over top of our cannon trunnion there. Yeah, I like that. So, with our marks, we can go ahead and mark it out. We'll just put it back on the jig. Make our marks where it's going to be overall length there. I didn't do too good there, did I? Now, since it's annealed, it's fairly easy to cut. I am going to cut the forward end right here. And I think 6mm is going to be just enough for us to put our loop and the cap square pin in. I'm leaving it just a little bit long so that I can file it and square it up. So I'm going to go ahead and square this end. Oops, shaking everything. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and square this up to the right length. Now the next thing I'm going to do, figure out how I'm going to do it. Probably should lay it down. I'm going to use a scribe and scribe me a line on the aft portion here. Just like that. I'll put it back on the jig and make sure that my lengths are right. Yeah, we look good. That's why it's nice to go ahead and mark your jig so that you know that the next one that you make is going to be the same. I'm going to cut this just a little bit long because we're actually going to do some soldering here. And I need enough room for my solder. That'll be good. All right, so that's one. That's going to look really good. So now I need to make another one, just like that. With both of them cut, I'm going to go ahead and put them back on the jig here. And just check our lengths. Make sure that we're okay. Yeah, we look good. All right, so we did leave the tails long here because we're going to solder something there. So let me get set up for soldering. We'll see how that goes. All right, we're ready to solder. Now, what I have here is the 3/64 brass rod. That's what I'm using. It's always a good idea to sand and clean that stuff up before you get started. Now, we scribed a line right there on our cap square. What I'm using here, this is heat tape for soldering. It's about the only thing that'll stick to the silicone soldering pad I got here. So I'm just setting this up. I don't like things moving around on me while I'm trying to solder something. So we have our scribed line there, and I'm just going to put it to the inside of that line. Yeah, like that. Now I do have it elevated on the opposite side there to keep it as straight as possible. When we go to solder this, need to make sure it's square. We're only going to have like one shot at it. And if we don't do it right, we'll have to desolder it and try again. So this is flux. Without flux, you don't get much. So I need my tweezers at hand because I'm going to have to hold this down once I'm done soldering so I can get the iron off of it without it popping back apart. Does that make sense? So I've got my soldering iron here. I'm going to touch the solder to both sides. You're going to watch it. It's going to heat up really quick. Here, let me see if I can zero in or get a little closer. Like that. I know you're at the bottom of the screen. Sorry about that. But it's go time. Hold it down. It's gonna might be crooked. Yeah, I'm a little crooked. So I'm gonna have to do that one again because it's crooked. But you kind of see what it's hard to do this on camera because I'm off to one side and I can't see what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get both these soldered. And it's stuck, so I'm just gonna have to desolder that and try again. So there we go. We got it that time. So that's why we left it long, so we would have somewhere for our solder to go. I gotta be careful. I'm gonna lose my fingerprints. All right, so that's pretty good. And we're just gonna cut it off kind of close, but I want to be able to file it down. So if you're wondering what we're doing, we need to make, basically, this is going to be the hinge part of our cap square. So these are flush cut wire cutters. That looks really good. Hopefully I don't knock it off trying to trim it here. Trying to get as much off as I can because we are going to have to file this. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. So I just have to file that down. Now, the reason why I'm using solder, you can use CA glue, but I did a little test piece here. Actually, I've done two. Soldering it, and I wanted to see if I could blacken it. And this one wouldn't blacken on the solder until I had filed and sanded it, and then the solder would take the blackening. So it's always good to test stuff out. Now, if you're going to use CA glue to put that little bead on there, then it's not going to blacken. So you can touch it up with a black marker or something like that if you want to. I just thought I would do my best to solder that on there. And then I'm going to have to do some filing and clean it all up. But that's the idea. So with the solder on there, that should all blacken once we get it filed and sanded down. So here is our cap square that I haven't done anything to other than just to solder it and cut the ends off of it. So what we're looking to do is just like this one right here. So we're going to file them all flat on the end there, and then we'll file it down basically to the brass, just to leave us a bead standing up on it just like that. And that's actually going to become part of the hinge because the cap squares are hinged. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're going to be making this one look just like that one. Now the next thing we need to do, since I've got both of these cleaned up, those look good. I need to drill a hole, and I really need to put that hole right dead in the middle here, up against, just in front of where we put that brass rod. And that's going to accept our lacing wire. So this is the wire that I've decided to use, and I think it's yeah, roughly 0.0345. So we'll call it 0.35 of an inch, which would be, oh, let's see in millimeter here, 0.88. So that's what we're using. I'm using a number 60 numbered bit to drill this hole. Now, obviously, because of our camera angle and everything, and I need to make sure I get it in the middle, I'm not going to be able to see anything there. So, yeah, you won't be able to see it while I'm doing this. So I'm going to drill both of these to accept that. Now, the thing that we're trying to reproduce here, that's going to be what you see right here, although this is not correct. This just looks like a loop. And in all actuality, it's supposed to be a hinge. And then for our cap square, it flips over. So we're trying to simulate basically a loop type hinge, but it's not going to be this, so that's wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this and the other one too, and hopefully I get the hole right where it's supposed to be, because it would be, well, difficult to fix if I mess it up. So we have our hole punched through there. So I'm going to need a piece of wire. And I need to straighten that. I'm probably shaking the camera. I'm sorry. So this is just regular old mechanics lacing wire. And if you've been watching the series, you know that We did test this to see if it would blacken with our blacking solution here, our birchwood Casey. So yeah, it works. It will blacken. So what we're going to do, we're going to bend this around. We need to make a loop. That's the actual hinge part. And hopefully we don't break our solder joint off. That would be bad, wouldn't it? Well, we have more brass. We can always make another if we need to. Okay, I need pliers. Where's my pliers? Oh, here we go. See, you're not the only one that loses things. I misplace them all the time. They're usually right in front of me. So the idea here is to make a loop. So I'm forming it around the part itself because that's the spacing that I need in the loop. Yeah, that's gonna work good. See that? So that's gonna be down inside the gun carriage there, the legs of it. I'll trim them down shorter, but that gives us the impression of the hinge, which is exactly what we want. So next, we need to make the cap square pin and the cotter. Now the cotter is nothing more than another wire loop, very similar to this one, that the cap square pin, there we go, goes through. And as you can imagine, they're going to be really small pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the same thickness here. This was the test piece that I have of our, of course I better trim that off, that's a little sharp. Yeah. I'm going to use this to form our cap square cotter. And of course we're going to do the same thing again with a piece of wire, you know, straighten it out and all that. I'll get that straightened out for us. So I think I can do this carefully. So it needs to be long enough to go around the cap square pin and through the cap square itself and then down into the top edge of the gun carriage. So we're just going to bend this around the brass there, using the brass as our just looking around to see if I had something better to bend this with. So lacing wire can be a little stubborn at times. But you kind of get the idea there. Yeah. Well, I'll just go, instead of you watching me fiddle with it, I'm going to get it bent around this thing here. There we go, I managed it. Yeah, that's going to work for us. So I need to make 2 of these. So I'll go ahead and make another one, and then we'll start working on our cap square pins. So here's our cap square with our hinge, which we got all fixed up there. And then we bent our cotters. And these are the loops that the cap square pin is supposed to go through. So basically where it's going to go, we're going to have to drill 2 holes in our cap square itself there for that to slide down through, just like we did over here. The profile is going to be like this. So that's the idea. So in the center of this is where our cap square pin goes. And it is a funny little wedge-shaped thing. So before we get to drilling any holes or anything, we're going to go ahead and make this. And as you can see here, I've kind of blackened out the areas that I want to remove from our brass stock here. So we're going to protect it just like that, and then we can use our pin vise, I think. Kind of hold on to it. Now you got to remember that the brass is really soft, so that's why I'm using the cardboard there to protect it, so that we're not getting a lot of squeeze into the piece there, you know, some dimples and stuff. Because if I do that, then I may mess up something that I may need later on to make something else, you know. So we are going to have to make 2 of these little cap square pins here. So the best way to go about this is to clamp it up here, and then I will sand and file down the profile. So that compound profile there is much easier to do while you still have plenty to hold on to there. And then we would just simply cut it off and square the end of it. After we drill the hole, right? Because that's going to be a really small piece to try to hold on to. And we do need a hole in it because we have to attach a chain. So the kit does come with this copper chain right here. And we're going to have to blacken that, of course. But so that's the idea. This is going to be really small work, as you can tell. I mean, there's my finger. So, yeah. It's going to be fun. But as long as you don't separate it from the main piece before you get all that little detail and the hole drilled, you'll be fine. So, we do have to drill the hole, though, because we got to attach the chain. So, I'm going to go ahead and do this because, as you can see, you're not going to be able to see much of what I'm doing. I'm going to use my rotary tool here to remove most of the brass that I want to take off. And then we'll just clean it up with a file. So, yeah. So I'm going to get to sanding on this. This is the most tedious of operations, as you can tell. I'm just using my square file here to get that. I am going to have to straighten that shoulder up there. I want that shoulder to be vertical. More vertical. Yeah, that's pretty good. So when this goes together, this is kind of how it's going to look. Whoops. May need to thin it out a little bit. So we got our cotter, and our cap square pin is just going to slide through it there. It's got burrs on it from my sand, from my filing. So I will round those over too. So I do need to get the height right. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And if we look, it is a really small piece. Oh, sorry about that. You can kind of see what we're trying to replicate there. So that's our rendition of it. Yeah. It's just really small. So having a clamp is really, really going to be key
in us being able to accomplish what we want to do here. I'm going to round these edges over here on the wedge portion so that it'll actually go into our cotter. Now this is 24 gauge steel wire, galvanized. That's that right there. That's what I'm using. And that'll pass through the hole that we drilled in our cap square pin, and it'll attach the chain. So you do need to make sure that the wire is going to go into an end link of the chain. Oh, I'll get it around here. There we go. Like that. So the kit does come with some copper wire. I didn't check it. Let's check it and see if it's going to work. This is what comes in the kit. And it is thicker, much thicker than our 24 gauge. And no, it does not fit. So we can't use that to actually attach our chain. So I'm going with the galvanized steel wire there. That's what we're going to use. We'll use that to make our little loops that are going to attach it to the gun carriage, eyelet, or eye bolt, and also to our cap square pin. So that's going to be my solution here. So now all I need to do, I don't want to lose my chain. That would be bad. Now there are 3 little brass loops here, or hoops, that come in the kit, but I think these were intended for the actual cover, the hatch on the bulwarks, and I think they may be too big for our chain. So we'll figure that out later. And as I was digging through parts, I found these 2 right here. These are larger. I think these are for the gun carriage, but we already made ours, so it's no big deal. It doesn't really tell us. The instructions just tell us to attach, you know, these rings. So at any rate, what I'm going to do now, I need to separate this from the rest of the stock there. Whoops. There we go. So to keep me from losing it, because it is a very small piece that we've made here, I'll just put the wire on it. And I think maybe, I'm hoping that these cutters right here will allow us to snap this off. I need as straight as cut as I can get. There we go. Just like that. There we go. So the next thing to do, without losing this, I need some tweezers. Here we go. I know somebody was yelling at me. They're right there on your desk. So I need to square this with my file. Always tedious working with really small stuff. Whoops. As you can see. That's why you want to leave it attached as long as you can. There we go. To the rest of the stock, that piece there, so that you can actually make those compound cuts. And then we're just going to clean this up. So the next task is going to be to make another one exactly the same size. That should be fun. Now I'll do that off camera, of course, because it's pretty much what you've already seen. I'll just keep using this one piece as a way for me to, I think I'll put a little on the top edge there, put a little corner on it, a little bevel. Yeah, that's probably what we'll do. So, okay, I just got to make another one. So we have a cup full of little parts here, and we got our cap squares here, and I need to lay out for our cotters, which is the loops that our cap square pins are going to go through. So just to make it easier to see everything, we'll just use a permanent marker here. Just like that. So now when we make marks on that shiny brass, which is not so shiny, we'll be able to see where it is that we need to actually drill some holes. So we've got to drill 2 holes in each one of these. I'm going to go ahead and lay this out, and then I'll show you what I did, because it's really quite small and you're not going to be able to see a lot while I'm fiddling with it here, you know. So yeah, okay. So hopefully you can see my layout lines there. I know it's hard to see. And I just use my scribe there to just make the mark through the black magic marker there. And the width is to the center. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's to the center of our actual cotter, or the loop that's going to be going through. So now all I got to do is center punch that and drill those, and hopefully I don't get them too close, because if I get it too close, yeah, our pin's not going to fit. So we'll have to figure that out if I get this wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and center punch these, and yeah, we'll go ahead and drill those. So this is what we've made. We got our cap square pin through the cotter, our cap square itself, and the hinge point there. So that's going to look really good on our cannon, I do believe. Very nice. So that completes our cap squares. Now we haven't blackened anything yet, and I just put the clamps over the little legs, the pins that are going to go down into the actual gun carriage there to hold everything into place. So that looks really good. Once we get everything blackened up, it's going to be really nice, and get our chain attached and all that good stuff. So with our cap squares done, we're going to move on to those axle tree brackets. The next thing we're going to build is going to be, well, not build, but make, is support brackets for the front axle tree here. And they're going to go here on either side. But we got to have a flange that lays flat on the bottom edge here of our gun carriage, and then again it'll have to be flat going up against the bottom of the axle tree. So we're just going to kind of bend it into a Z that actually fits that shape there, but we're not going to drill any holes into it until after we get it bent, because if you do, you will the metal is going to want to bend right at the hole, and we don't want that. So we are drilling 1mm holes for our brad nails that are going to go through. So we want to make sure that our flanges are of sufficient width there, or length I should say, so that we are able to actually accomplish that. This goes pretty easy, I think. I think it's going to go easy. So I'm just going to go right at the bottom of my mark there. Because as you bend this, what's going to happen is it's going to stretch a little bit. So, and I am using a wooden block here to back it so I can get as sharp of a bend as I can get there. It's kind of what we're aiming for. It is kind of a steep angle. So we want to check the angle here. That might have been too steep. It's all right. I can straighten it out a little bit. And then we're going to make the next bend. So I'll mark it and make the next bend too. And we'll see what it looks like. Just trying to get us to land right where we want it to. Yeah, that looks good. That's going to be nice. So let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, that's going to work nice. That's going to look really good. So all I got to do now is decide where to cut it, and then I'll finish tweaking it a little bit to make sure that it sits flat against our wooden pieces of the gun carriage there. So again, we're going to decide on our length here. If my marker would write, that'd be helpful. So all I got to do is get that cut off and square that, and we'll get some holes drilled in it. So I got the holes drilled. I just kind of want to see how everything's going to play out here. Yeah, I think it's going to look good.
All right, so we've got our cap squares done, and we got those axle tree brackets done for the front axle tree. I think it's going to look really good. Of course, those are things that we've added to the model that weren't there, obviously. And still yet the other thing we need to do, I'm going to have to knock this pin out of our barrel here, and I got to cut it to the proper length because we don't want it extending out past the gun carriage. That would not look good. And besides, the real ones, they didn't do that. So that's going to be it for this video. Special thanks to all my subscribers. It's because of you guys I keep making these videos, and I hope that you enjoyed this one. And if you are new to the channel, I hope I earned your subscription. So next week, we're going to go ahead and start doing all the, we'll get this cut and blacken all that and install that, and hopefully that's going to wrap up the gun carriage part of this build. So that ought to be fun. So till I see you guys again next week, you guys stay safe.